naked is just a conversation. I may ask you something about your career, maybe not. It just depends because
Okay.
I like to be in everybody's business. I'm a full curious monster.
Yeah.
So the first question is this: did you enjoy Essence Fest?
I did. I did.
Good.
I always do. I think, it's definitely a work event.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely working because you're on all the time. You know what I mean?
So I have to set the scene. So at Essence, Michael and the lovely cast of Reasonable Doubt, you guys can't see it. Maybe you can't see him because we'll use this part as the tease. I was blessed with the responsibility of interviewing them just really quickly, like 20 minutes about what this new series is, which we will get into. And Michael had to have security because the ladies were after him. It was really uncomfortable. Um, they were exploiting his good looks, and he was just so humble about it, and he couldn't take it. And I enjoyed it. I was like, "Hey, blue shorts." No, I'm kidding. What did you? Does that bother you though? Really, all the attention that you get?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it makes me uncomfortable. I mean, at this point, I want to say that I've adjusted and gotten used to it, but like I was telling you, I think during COVID, I really forgot that that could happen when you go to another city. Because in LA, it just doesn't happen that way. But when you go to another city, and it can get a little hectic at times, but at the end of the day, I think there's worse problems to have. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
Women
mean,
chasing you around. Literally, women chasing you around is not bad if you have security to stop them, right, Michael? Or
yeah, I
no?
mean, even if you don't have security around, like having people chase you because they like you is actually, that's a high class problem, as I like to call them. I mean, it's a high class problem. I'll take it. I know it comes with it, and so it's better than having them hate you.
Yes, yeah, and I don't think you were in fear of that. So there was this one point, you guys, where he was trying to be funny, or maybe not. He was telling people to come and sit on stage next to him. I feared for my life. I felt
Well,
like,
hold on now, Cari. See now,
oh, I'm forgetting that. I'm forgetting
you're
parts.
forgetting the fact that you offered the opportunity to come sit next to me. And all I did was try and continue the joke. And
Okay.
at which point it became real at that point.
It got real. It was about to be a stampede up in there,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
only reason. The only reason why I offered that was because they were leaving. And I was like, hey guys,
right,
don't walk away. You can sit next to Michael. And they were like,
right.
well, okay, okay, sure. It was
Yeah.
beautiful to see. I love how you're being supported and you have a solid fan base. I think what's interesting is something you pointed out earlier is that you don't necessarily love the attention. In person, you seem really shy. And you share with me that's how you grew up, or not necessarily shy, maybe bashful, not necessarily wanting all of the attention. What do you mean that's how you grew up?
Well, I think for me, I was raised by very, very normal people. My parents have both passed at this point, but
Mm.
they they raised me and my sister to be extremely independent. They raised us to be, just very conscientious about, community and family and friends. And so I don't have this greater sense of my worth
Hmm.
that I think comes sometimes with being in the Hollywood scene, right? Like, so I think somebody could come on set and see all of the attention that you get from somebody doing your hair and your makeup and tying your
Mhm.
shoes or you walking with security through a convention center and people
Mhm.
thinking, oh, he's VIP, he's really
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
all of that,
Mhm.
I think I've learned that that's all smoke and mirrors. And at the end of the day, my parents gave me the kind of foundation I needed to know what's real in this world. And I know that all of that stuff can go away tomorrow.
Mhm.
It can all go away tomorrow.
What's interesting about actors, and I hear them say this a lot, you're not, every actor, whatever your background is, white, black, purple, or green, it could be gone tomorrow. This is business where they love you and then Next day they don't. In my business, they say you're only as good as your last live shot. Like, and maybe in yours, it's maybe you're only as good as your last movie or whatever, or your last project.
Mhm.
But you started acting when? How old were you when you were like, oh, were people like, I saw you in this, Michael Ealy? Might be two different ages.
Yeah, it's two different ages. I started acting at 19. Um, and you know, I didn't really break out until um, I was 27, which was Barbershop. I'd say Barbershop was like the first one that like, and that, this is the 20-year anniversary of that movie. So
Yeah.
I've actually, this has been an interesting year for me in the last like year or so, actually. Is I go on sets now and I always know somebody I worked with before.
Uh-huh.
I always have actors come up to me and, ask for advice. And I realize now I'm kind of the OG now, right? Like I'm the guy who, you know,
Hmm.
certain people grew up watching my movies now.
Hmm.
Now they're on set with me, and that's freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And it's reassuring because there's that amazing quote from Love Jones
Hmm.
where Isaiah Washington's character says, uh, um, "Falling in love is easy. Will someone please tell me how to stay in love?" Right?
Mm.
And I probably messed it up just a little bit, but
But I get it. I get it.
but
That's
you get the
deep.
point, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt about this business, like falling in love with this business, getting into the actual business. In hindsight, it's actually easy because a lot of times it's luck meets preparation. But at the hardest part that people don't talk about is
Yeah.
staying in it. And you and I both know, like it's in this ever-changing climate, it is the most fluid business. I mean, there's
Yeah.
tech and there's entertainment, right? And they're both moving so fast
Yeah.
that we have to kind of be able to adapt. We have to reinvent ourselves. We have to stay youthful, stay young, all of that. And so staying in the business is hard because you're right. Oftentimes, the business is focused on who's the next big this, who's the
Yeah.
next this. It doesn't matter who you are, who's the next.
Hmm.
And so you have to keep reinventing yourself. And you say, I have an audience. I'm proud to have that
Yeah.
audience. I'm proud of the audience that I built because I feel like a lot of these younger cats right now, they don't even know what that's like because their audience is this new generation that doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
believe in movie stuff. So,
It's crazy.
yeah,
When I have these conversations, I'm like, oh, I'm so aging myself. But there's something about what you said, whether the quote was right or not. Falling in love is easy, staying in love isn't. And that's true for professional and personal. Because I feel the same way about my business,
yes,
about what I don't love about it anymore. And I don't want to be jaded, but I am. And it's hard not to be. And then you go places and you're like, oh God, I gotta work with this person. Okay, just get my face together. Or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
What in the world is it about? And I haven't thought about this, but what is it about people who choose the profession that you find yourself constantly reinventing yourself? What is that? Why are we attracted to that? Why are you attracted to this business? Even though I understand why you fell in love with it and what you wanted to do, but
okay,
staying in it.
yeah, okay. Here's the best answer I could come up with. As far as I'm concerned, and you tell me if you feel the same way. I'm not in the business I signed up to be in. Are you?
No.
That
No. Okay.
so what happened was we signed up for a business that respected integrity.
Mm.
We didn't just show up off the street and get into the business. We actually studied what we're doing. You know what I mean? And we have a passion for what it is that we do. And I think we got into the business. So I'll speak on behalf of myself now. I got into this business because of the craft of acting. I am still in this business because of the craft of acting. So the love of the craft is still there, right? But
Yeah.
what happens is it's all the other, you know, tangents that just keep coming. You keep getting hit with all of these different things that kind of take the business and take it in a different direction.
Yeah.
When I signed up for this business, there weren't streaming services.
Change the game.
They weren't streaming service. There wasn't podcasts. There was there wasn't even like radio stations outside of like local stations, really. And then the movie business was a bit more simple. And movie studios used to make dramas. And dramas are what made me want to get into this business. And now the studios don't really make dramas anymore. They acquire them from independent filmmakers and so forth and so on. And then they push them out as their own and win Oscars for them. But they really make entertaining films. That's their thing, entertaining films.
It's funny that we're saying this. If in fact Frank Sinatra
make a lot of money.
Wait, have it say it again.
That those movies hopefully make a lot of money.
That's the hope, right? And if they don't, then you're in trouble. But the conversation that you're having, I could imagine that, and I love old films. I imagine that if Marilyn Monroe or Frank Sinatra or Sammy Davis Jr. were alive, they'd be like, when you were at your prime, like, what is this? They don't belong to studios anymore. They don't do all three of those things. They don't sing, They don't act, they don't dance. What is this now? Right. I think it's interesting because our world is forced to evolve, but we live in a country where our laws are not. Like we still hold accountable for laws that were created in the 1700s, but yet and still they force us to evolve in our professions and our personal lives in every aspect of the world. But it's crazy to me where we are in today's times. And I know that you're very aware, thoughtful, well-read, activated activist and activist is different, but meaning like you're out there and you have an opinion and you're not afraid to share it. Did you ever think there would be a time, and Hollywood has been doing this, stars do this when they use their platform, but were you ever hesitant to use your platform to speak out against racism, social injustice, all of the things that are in the world today?
100%. But it's more so, it's not that I'm scared to speak out so much as I think right now, the way in which you speak out is where things become a bit problematic for me, right? So, oftentimes people go to your Instagram to hear how you feel about a police shooting. And I don't find that Instagram is the best way to express my opinion about a police shooting, because there's no real conversation to be had. You say something and people, there's a certain amount of people that will agree with you and you're preaching to the choir when it comes to those people. And then there's people who are looking to pick apart your argument and are looking for you to say the wrong thing. And so it's a fine line between wanting to use your platform to speak up, but also being well educated, well read, like really understanding the topic that you're speaking about or speaking out about, and putting that out there in the world. Because as you know, once you put something out there, there's no pulling it back. And so there is a lot of pressure to get it right. There's a lot of pressure to get it right. And sometimes I think, well, I can't put out my feelings, my real feelings about this right now because I don't have the time, or I can't even process my anger fast enough to get this out on time, because by the time I process exactly how I feel, it could be a week later. And sadly, in our world, there could be another shooting. And so it's hard to play catch up. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
It's pretty powerful that you think that you have to process what you're feeling before you say something, because that is not what today is. Like something happens immediately and people are quick to just, I got to get this opinion off. I have to get that. In a world that I work in, I have plenty of opinions, but sometimes I don't have the energy. So I won't say anything. So I just won't say anything. Not because I'm afraid. I just 'cause I don't give a damn
Right.
anymore. But I just am like, I don't have the energy. So I would think, here's what I'm gonna go back to your career. I would think that someone who's had such a successful career
Hmm.
is arguably pretty easy to get along with on set, right?
Hmm.
Don't you think? Don't you think? Are you pretty like if I said, how is it if I was like, yeah, how's it working with Michael Ealy? Was he a nightmare? What would she say? How would Gabrielle Union describe working with you?
I think Gab would say that working with me was a lot of fun,
Uh-huh.
because
Why'd you laugh?
no, that's my girl right there. Oof,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
I
like
saw well, I saw here goes some Hollywood shit. I saw you at the birthday party, remember?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you were minding your business, chilling. And I was always curious. I was like, and she only has great things to say about everybody, but I'm curious about what she would say about you specifically that she enjoyed working with.
Oh, I mean, we just had so much fun, and like amount of conversations that happened off screen
Mhm.
about the bullshit that's going on in the world at that time.
Mhm.
It was all like just she's her outtakes are some of the most fascinating outtakes.
Really?
Like when I talk to Gab, I just don't feel like I'm talking to a personality. She is a very real, fully realized person that has handled her trauma, that understands exactly where she is and what she wants.
Mhm.
And I just got so much respect for that. I
Mhm.
just do. I got so much respect for that. I always will. And if you need her, she will show up for
She
you.
will. She
Show up for
will.
you. And that's, you and I both know that you can't say that about everybody. So you have to be kind of grateful for the ones that you can say that about. And Gab is
So-
that person for
And
sure.
she collects good people. She tries to have her atmosphere set around with good people, or maybe, or just fun. More importantly, fun people. Because
Yeah.
I enjoy a good time. So I appreciate her for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not getting messy, but I am curious. Who
Okay.
is your all-time favorite actor? Male or female, or you can put them in individual categories. One male, one female.
Mm, mm. All time favorite.
Like you watch this, you watch them and you're like, who inspired you to act? I know you said you like dramas, but was there some movie that you saw and said,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's an easy one. That's Mo Better Blues.
oh, oh, tell me more? I mean, yes.
Mo Better Blues was um, the first movie that I saw where I thought to myself, man, I felt like I could see myself on the screen for the first time, right? Like I was saying in Essence at a panel on Essence that my son is growing up with Miles Morales and Black Panther as his first two superheroes.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. I had
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Reeve as Superman, right? So people are like, whoa,
How old are
that,
you?
that's how old. And so uh, I never had like I had Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. I had all these like action heroes, and none of them looked like me, right? And so for me, there was Eddie Murphy.
Mhm,
He was my first action hero in Beverly Hills
mhm,
Cop,
mhm, mhm,
hands
mhm.
down. I could tell you every single line from that movie. Eddie shined in that movie. That and
Yeah,
you can watch documentaries about this. That movie was so pivotal
it's
because he was
important.
the smartest cat in the room and
Yes.
he outsmarted everybody. And it was amazing. He had the street smarts. It's just an incredible film.
You're so right. Eddie Murphy. You're
Eddie Murphy
right.
was my first action hero.
For sure.
Why? Because that's where we were at the time. That being said, and Denzel was only doing dramas. Uh, so then, so then what was I saying? So there was Eddie there, and then Denzel, and so Spike did Mo Better Blues, And Ernest Dickerson, his DP, shot Mo Better Blues. And if you remember, Mo Better Blues was so aesthetically pleasing.
So pretty.
Like he made Brooklyn look so beautiful, right? And I was like, wow. And to know that a Black man shot that, a Black man directed it, and a Black man starred in it, I said, oh, the wheels started spinning. It became a possibility, right? Just like kids are growing up now thinking a Black man can be president. It's the norm. Black man can be a superhero. It's the norm. We are having this kind of shift, and it's a good thing. And so for me, that was when I saw Mo Better Blues, that was the first time my wheels started spinning about a possibility of doing this and wanting to know more about it, and seeing it as a real possibility. And Wesley,
But get out of here. You get everybody go watch it, stream it. Thank God streaming's available. It is must see. And I hear you talk about it with so much love and so much
yeah, the
nostalgia.
nostalgia. I mean,
It's just amazing.
it was influential in that way. And
Okay.
you know, when I got the opportunity to work with Spike, it was a dream come true because, you know, his movie, his work, Do the Right Thing was a whole different thing, but his movies really were the ones that kind of got me and my friends thinking that this was even a possibility.
I think that when I have interviewed people, or even when I talk to, mentor young girls and they say they want to be an actor or an actress rather, I go, why? And they don't really know why. So I believe there's an element to not necessarily knowing why you're drawn to something, but it's more about the fame. I have a feeling it wasn't fame for you, for obvious reasons, because I told you, I tease you and say you're painfully shy. But what was it for you that drew you? You saw yourself and said, I want to do this, because why?
That's a great question. Wow. And I'll get to it. I just want to answer one other thing that you said that was interesting, which is, I think now there are people who want to act or want to get into the business, and it's not so much fame as it's possible. It's normal and it's possible.
Okay.
Not far-fetched.
But is there a difference?
Far-fetched for me, right? It was far-fetched for me because nobody in my family did it. So only these satellite people were doing it, right? Like the Eddies and the Denzels, and they were the only ones doing it.
Okay.
But I think there's something to be said for seeing yourself more on screens, like whether it's movies or TV or YouTube or whatever it is. Everything becomes the norm. Everything becomes possible. And you and I both know we didn't see a lot of Black people on the screen.
Sure.
When we were coming up. So maybe our friends went into another path because it just wasn't even an option. So for us, I think there is some sense, it's not always, I think, about the fame. I think sometimes it's, I think with this newer generation, I think sometimes it's just possible. They all believe that they can be somebody, especially with social media, because you are the president, CEO, and star of your own network. Okay, so it took me a while to get around to that, but I think you got what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
For me, I think it was what I saw was I just felt a connection to playing. Like in Mo Better, I was like, I don't even play instruments, but like I feel like I could do this. I wonder what it takes to do this. And at the time, I was gung ho about architecture. I just knew I was going to be, Frank Lloyd
I
Wright,
can see that.
Paul Williams. I was just gung ho architecture. And so, it was the first time where something actually struck me as, I wonder what that's like. It piqued my curiosity. And then it wasn't until I took my first acting class where I realized what it is. And it is the experience of putting yourself into the shoes of someone else with extreme circumstances that aren't necessarily uh, particular to what your life is about. So I will always say this. I think a lot of people in my business have a lot of trauma and childhood trauma. And a lot of people in my business get into this business because it allows you to escape that by stepping in other people's shoes and playing other characters. I feel like for me, because my childhood was not riddled with trauma and my childhood was very normal and stable, I think there's a sickness in me that's the drama, right? There's a sickness in me that seeks the drama. So when I can play a character, like for me, the challenge is finding Bo Willie from For Color Girls, finding what makes somebody get to this point. That's the journey. That's why I still love the craft of acting, because I get to pursue an unlikable character, a likable character, a funny character. I mean, I'm doing the after party right now with Tiffany Haddish. And I will tell you straight up and down, this is the most fun I've ever had.
Oh, good. I like it.
Here I am at this point in my career, feeling like I've done it all. And I'm just now getting a chance to be the inner silly side is just pouring out of me in this one. And I'm loving it.
So you get to reinvent yourself again, right? And do something that you haven't been able to do. And that's how you stay in love with the business.
Exactly. Or just with my particular lane, right? Like business will still kind of
be the business.
Right? Still be the business.
Yeah.
I don't have that much control over the business, but I do have some control over my lane. And what I love about where I am right now is I'm getting to play. And I've told the producer, I was like, nobody has ever allowed me to be this way. You know,
because you come across very sobering.
Right.
And you did fall in love with drama.
But
and Michael, I made a few jokes, at Essence that went right over your head, or you just didn't think I was funny. And that's impossible, because most people think I'm very funny. And so I'm offended.
I think there was just, there's just a lot going on at Essence. And I
you were like, security, save me. So listen, Essence, you guys at Essence, Michael was trying to escape me and I was trying to talk to him about nothing that mattered. And I saw him talking to his wrist and say, we have a Klinger stage 10. I took it with the L and security came and removed me from Michael's presence. It's fine. Thank you for doing the show.
Yeah, do that because people will believe it. People will absolutely believe that. But we had such a
we had a good time.
Interesting, time, and I thought we had a really good conversation. That's why I was like, yeah, when they said you want to do that, I was like, absolutely, because I just want to kind of continue where we were.
We had a great conversation. You did not call security, although that is a true story. I think Oprah did that to me when I met her first, because she is the reason why I do what I do. I saw her do it. So so when I met her, full tears, and I did see her talking to her wrist and say, come get this chick because it could get crazy. Back to what I was talking about, you were saying about you being on your silly side. First and foremost, I love that. I'm excited about that because I do believe, like I said, you do appear very sobering, but I bet you are goofy as all get out, right? Oh, you have it in you.
I've had it in me. Like, this is the kind of thing where my family will be like, that's Michael right there.
Oh, really?
That's Michael, 100%. I've been silly my whole life. And it's interesting because I remember when I heard a story about Eric Bana. I don't know if you know that actor, Eric Bana.
I do.
He's an Australian actor. And apparently he was like a stand-up
comic. He played like Hulk Hogan or something, or the Hulk?
He played the Hulk.
The Hulk. Why I say Hulk Hogan? Yes, I'm sorry.
He's known for like these dramas, Munich and all these other dramas and stuff like that. But apparently in Australia, he was like a slapstick comedy guy before he broke into the mainstream. Yeah. And so, like in my head, I am Will Ferrell. In my head, I'm Will Ferrell at home. Sometimes my kids will see me do, like impressions, and I'll be very silly. And my wife has
Uh-huh.
seen all kinds of characters. And, and she's like, I just hope at some point you get to do SNL. That I think is the only way where people will kind of see just how silly you are. And for a
Aw.
lot of us, I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
SNL is the first time that people say, "Oh my God, I didn't know so and
Yes.
so was so funny."
Yes. Correct. You're
Right?
correct. You're correct. You're right. And I'm like, oh my, they have a personality. There's more. I That happens a lot of times in our world. They just put you in one way and they think you can only do one thing. And that's who you become. But I love to see this. First of all, Tiffany's amazing. So she to me has really been able to stay in her own lane and own who she is, right? This is
Mhm.
just me. This is you
Mhm.
take it, leave it, you ain't gotta like it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there you go. That's
yeah.
it. I
She's
respect because people can't move that way.
she's unapologetically herself. And if you don't respect that or you can't handle it, that's really your problem.
Not hers.
Really your problem. Not hers. And I think she's aware of that, and I love that about her. And I haven't done. I've never worked with her before. We met a few times, and she literally just called me up and was like, "Hey, I want you to come do this." And I read it, and I was like, "Thank you." Nobody thinks of me in this way. And
Aw,
she was like, "I think you're funny. Let's do it."
aw. I
Bet.
love. Okay, I'm excited. Y'all, look. Okay, we have to get to. He has to go soon. I could talk all day. I have 4 questions, so we're going to
We
get.
got we got time, by the way.
Okay, good.
We got time. We got time.
I want to talk about Reasonable Doubt,
Okay.
the show that is premiering September 27th on Hulu, Onyx Collective, right? Or is it Onyx Hulu? How do you say it?
No, it's the Onyx Collective and Hulu.
And Hulu Times. Got the Times. Everything's is the Times. Okay.
Yeah.
Onyx Collective Times Hulu,
Yeah.
which I think is going to be amazing. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but I want to go back to, I want to correct me if I'm wrong, because when you start describing why you act and what drew you to it and using the description of Mo Better Blues and how it made you feel, it made me feel listening to you feel, right?
Right.
That's why you do what you do, because you can feel it's tangible, your passion, your love for what you do, you can feel it.
Yeah.
You were nominated, I don't know if you won, but nominated for a Globe.
Yes.
Did you win?
No.
Bastards.
Right.
That's me. Bastards. Sleeper Cell.
Yes.
Bastards. Who'd you go up against?
I don't even remember. Doesn't matter.
They were all bastards too.
Right.
And that's me quoting, not Michael. He's a sweet guy, he'd never say that.
Yeah.
Do awards matter to you in this business? Do, like, for someone such as I would just say for me, I work really hard. And when people don't acknowledge it in certain instances, not most, like 99.9% of the time, I don't give a damn, because as long as I feel good about it. But there could be an instance where I'm like, oh, I feel away. Did you feel away?
I think there was a time maybe in the beginning, and I don't know why. I think it's how we're conditioned more than anything else, is to regard these awards with such reverence that we, you know, we strive, we push, we do all of these things. But when you start to take a more scientific look at the business, um, what I have learned is that in a lot of ways, sometimes, so Tom Cruise might be, at one point he was the biggest movie star in the world. Then it became Will Smith. Then it became Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Whatever you want to do, blah, 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 blah. Right? So there's two ways to look at your career. You can have a award worthy career where
Okay.
you maybe won an award, or you won an Oscar. In my business, you won an Oscar or you won an Emmy. Fantastic. Where are you in 20 years? My point is, I know actors who won awards, the biggest night of the year, the Oscars, everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now they're
Okay.
either struggling financially, the business is no longer doing dramas, so they're no longer as relevant, right? and or they're going to jail, right? So, and then I'm gonna turn this into a sports analogy because
Okay, you know the
sports
sports. Okay.
conversation. It's a sports conversation. We are now at a time when an award is great. It'll help me make more money. Fantastic. I'll take it. Great. But my worth in this business is not defined by a statute. My worth in this business is determined by my ability to stay in it, to have longevity, to continue to feed my family. That is where my worth comes from. My worth is when I go to Essence and I meet my audience face to face and they still got love for me and they still want to see me on the screen. That to me is where my worth comes from, and not, I mean, in terms of the business. and I cannot worry or be concerned about whether or not the powers that be in Hollywood lift me up on a pedestal for one night and say, you the man. You know what I mean? Because that won't last. We've seen it 1,000 times, especially for Black people that have won the Oscar. You can look at the numbers yourself and you can say,
I say it all the time. I'm like, all right, you get it, then you stop working. I'm like, how'd that work?
There's a you get it, and there's typically a decline.
Like, it's crazy.
I don't understand it.
Well,
do you
not understand it, or is there a reason to it? I'm curious as to why that is. Do you think? I'm pretty sure you put some thought into that.
I mean, I think in certain situations, and this is not the case all the time, obviously, and not everyone's career has declined afterwards, but I think in certain situations, you peaked.
I don't like it.
That performance was it. That was the one you were born to play, and it's like you peaked, and you'll get a couple more jobs, but 9 times out of 10, it's your agents and your managers who are telling you to take these money jobs because now you got the momentum, so they tell you to take these money jobs. And next thing you know, you're like, you got flops now. You know what I mean? You went from an Oscar winner to a series of flops. And within 3 years, because this business always focuses on the next person, they're giving those jobs to the next person. Like they're just.
Yeah, who's next? Who's next?
Who's next? Because this person doesn't have staying power in their minds. When in reality, they just kind of chose the wrong movies, but in their defense, they were going for the funds.
Yeah, I want to get paid. Yeah.
Money. Now,
who don't want to get paid? Who don't want to get paid?
So let's talk about the sports situation. We just went through NBA free agency, right? So I remember all the commentators talking about these cats don't want to win rings. They staying in their markets. Let me tell you something. $200+ million to stay in a town, and you say, well, guess what? You might not be relevant, or you might not be chasing a ring. You right.
Correct.
Absolutely right. I don't need relevance with $250 million.
Exactly. I was like, 2 of those. Some cats get 2 of those contracts.
This is what I'm saying. Like you do not turn down $250 million to go join a team and hope that you win a ring with them, because that's just not smart.
Well, Michael, I disagree. I got a little pushback. Not that I disagree. I agree that that is not smart, but I take someone and I've worked with him and I think he's a nice guy. I consider him my friend, The Rock. I consider DJ my friend, I guess. Like, hey, I could see him walking out. I'm like, hey, DJ. Not like, hey, come over and eat with the family. But I bet if I had to guess, after he's made all of this money, all he would like is a role that proves he is made it or valued for that one night. I think he probably would say no, but I think when people get it the other way, where they are huge box office superstars, but Hollywood's elite snubs them, or maybe they don't feel that they have the respect of their peers, then they're like, all right, this one more thing will add to my legacy.
Yes.
Same as in sports.
Yes.
That's why some of the older cats, after they've made their money, I know a couple of guys who would have came to the Lakers and were played with LeBron, hoping they would have got a chip, right?
Right.
Because they've made that, they did that one, or maybe they had 1.5 $200 million contracts, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
They got the bread. Now I just need a ring. Isn't that the fair way to look at it sometimes too?
I would 100%. If I had a $250 million contract and I was done and I could go and I didn't get a ring during that time, because some people do get their ring during that. Giannis got his ring. He got his ring.
He's great.
Anytime you win, you're lucky. I don't care what anybody says. Anytime in sports, you're lucky.
Correct.
Because injuries create havoc on the best of teams. We've seen it firsthand. So if you make it all the way, it's a league of attrition. If you made it all the way, great. So you're lucky. You won the check. You won the chip. Congratulations. Someone like Giannis, he got it after he took his big contract, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He got it after he took
he did.
Contract,
yeah.
Right? So if you take the big contract, you can still possibly get a ring. Just because you're taking the big contract doesn't mean that your team won't get there. It doesn't. It's possible. Denver might make it next year.
Perhaps.
They might make it. Denver got a squad.
Perhaps.
They got a squad.
You're talking to a diehard Laker fan. I don't know nothing.
I understand that, but you know that
delusional.
The West is stacked. The West is stacked, and anything can happen. It really is.
You're absolutely correct.
Anything can happen.
You're correct. I'm delusional.
The idea, though, that you get but if I took a big contract, yes. After that contract, I can ring hunt all I want. Great. But if I haven't had a ring and I get this opportunity to get a contract, or I've got an opportunity to work for, let's say, $40 million, which is still a lot of money. But in NBA salaries, it's just not compared to the we all know now, with the way that the world works, you just don't turn down a payday like that.
Yeah.
Unless it's your second. And even if it's your second, it's still hard to think about not taking that money, because you're setting yourself up. Your career as an athlete is over at like 38, 40. If you're lucky enough.
Yes, that is lucky. Like if you can live. Yes, exactly.
Right. If you're lucky to play that long, your career is over. What do you do for the rest of your life? What does your family do for the rest of your life? Well, if I got 250 racks,
I'm set.
I'm not worried about
it. But wait, let me ask you this: acting. Someone comes to you today, Michael, this role was guaranteed Oscar, guaranteed the role that you've been waiting to play. This is your role. But so you can't take this movie that films exactly at the same time. They're offering you $35 million.
Okay, that's more than Tom Cruise makes per movie. So
that's what I'm saying.
They offer me $35 million. I'm going to take that money. Because I'll never make that if I get the statue. And the statue, here's the other thing. The statue, when they tell you it's guaranteed Oscar caliber work, well, here's the difference, right? Mm-hmm. What I do requires me to not only perform well, the director, the editor, the DP, the lighting, everything's got to come. So all these people got to come together. So it's
not just you. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is no such thing as an individual who earned it. You know what I mean? There's so many things that play into that working. The director can really screw up the movie in post. Despite it being an amazing performance, they can screw up the movie.
I've seen it.
The studio can screw up the movie in post. And you were like, yo, this was my Oscar shot. And it's like, yeah, you should have taken the 35 million.
Hold on. Guys, he's going to go with the 35. Let's just close on the deal. Let's get the paperwork done by the end of the day. Let's close this damn deal.
$35 million. And I know I can invest. I will be set. I'm
I'm
not
a
claiming
hollering.
it.
And you're
I'm
like,
not
look,
claiming
look, I'm not ashamed. I'm getting my bread. And I'm right there with you. So I understand.
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I believe I'm
Exactly.
not holding you to any standard I would not hold myself to. I agree wholeheartedly. Tell
Yeah.
me, tell me your teams. Who are your teams? Football, if you have them, football, basketball.
I don't have teams anymore.
Who's your favorite player?
Mm,
Football, basketball. History,
mm.
currently, presently, past.
Football is a receiver from the old Washington team.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Art Monk.
Mm.
Art Monk. He was my idol growing up, and in a
Interesting.
lot of ways, he was he was quiet,
Mm.
and he
Shocking.
played hard every week, but you never heard any stories about him. You never heard him, in the clubs popping bottles, oh, none of that stuff. And so, in a lot
Well,
of,
that explains who you are, right? That's why you liked him, no?
I mean, I guess I didn't know that at the time. He was just, he just had great hands. Like I watched him every Sunday religiously. He just had great hands. He made the kind of catches I imagined making as a, third grader. And you know what I mean? Like it was just like, I wanted to be him. And then as I got older is when I realized I never saw any drama with him
Mm-hmm.
ever. And I had so much more respect for him because he played his career, he played it all in one team, and then he went away quietly. You know how some people don't go away quietly. Some people got to stick around, they got to stick around. And then that leads to other problems. Some people can do it with grace, not everybody. But he is incredible. And when I got an opportunity to talk to him on the phone one time.
Mm.
I got an opportunity to talk to him on the phone one time, and it was just such an honor to speak to him, and he was just what I thought he would be like. Very humble, very cool, and he was a fan of my work. And the same thing happened with Doug Williams. The same
Oh,
thing happened with Doug Williams. I could not believe that these guys were fans of my work. These
wow.
guys who I grew up idolizing, they were fans of my work. So for
Wow.
football, I'd say definitely Doug Williams and Art Monk
Yeah.
growing up. And then favorite all-time basketball player. Mm, mm, probably I have to say Bill Russell.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very surprising. Why
I
Bill
know.
Russell?
I grew up with Jordan, trust me.
Yeah.
Grew up with Jordan. I get it. Athletic ability, all of that stuff. And if you'd asked me this question 15, 20 years ago, it would have been Jordan, hands down. I think Bill Russell, because through time, I've learned what he did historically. I learned about, his commitment, Ali, Jim Brown. These guys had a certain level,
Correct.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like their commitment to their community, I think
Mhm.
is, I have to give that the weight that it deserves. And again, I don't necessarily, I have no problem with people who did, right? I have
Mhm.
no problem with the people who, I don't think you have to speak up all the time. I don't, I'm just saying for me,
Right.
Bill Russell lived in an era where he was being called the N word,
Mhm.
like at work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Just at work making a basket,
yeah, I
with
mean,
no
like
import. Uh-huh.
it was a different time. And the
Mhm.
fact that he coached and played and got 11
Mhm.
and
That's
got 11, 11. Okay.
no one would debate you on that who who understands the history of basketball. In fact, he is probably forgotten. So I love that you say that. And even in Doug Williams, I mean, what a great soul to this day. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
wonderful human. So
Yeah.
I think that's interesting that you pick those people. As for Bill is concerned, and I'm one of those folks that I'm in sports. I know he's great. I know he has 11. I know he's anything because I didn't see it.
Right.
I'm a visual person. Like I didn't
Right.
experience it. So I can't speak to it. I'm very much like I need to have the experience with everything. So I understand.
I
So
totally,
I appreciate you saying that.
yeah. And in that way, Jordan is the GOAT. I
Oh
mean,
well.
Jordan is the GOAT because I saw him dominate, and you you can't deny that. But I still think that his journey, if you can put it bluntly, was easier.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
because
I
of the
mean,
game that
he
because of
didn't,
off the court you're referring to, right?
yeah, he didn't. I mean, can you imagine? Okay, let me put it in perspective.
Okay.
If I went to work tomorrow and
Hmm.
a grip or an electric or somebody in the crew was like, "Hey, nigga, move out the way."
Yeah. Well, people are getting beat up, dead, fought,
I was
fired,
the
all the things.
star, and I was the star of that movie. Like this
Uh-huh.
is what Sidney Poitier and them were dealing with, right? Like you came on set as the headliner, and somebody in the crew was just like just giving you racial like stress, and you still had to go out there and perform.
Mm-mm.
You got to weigh that into the equation
It's
for me.
it's not even it's not even it's invaluable, right? You talking about
Yeah,
weighing it, it's invaluable. No, you're right. You're
and
right.
then to go out there and dominate and get 11 and still, I mean, he was in Boston. Like Boston's still funky
To this day.
to this day.
Yeah.
So
I have a question then, because you know the sports, like I know the sports.
no, you know them much better than me. But
But
yeah,
I'm just now I'm getting messy.
right.
Does Kyrie Irving need to be a Laker?
No.
And why and why, sir, do you think no?
Okay.
And by the way, by the time this
Let's
actually,
get messy.
but right, by the time this actually airs, we'll probably know, perhaps, maybe we
Okay.
won't,
Okay.
right? But let's get messy. My take is that we're always going to get a part-time Kyrie. If summer solstice doesn't go right, he's not coming to work. If the sage isn't put in the right place in the house and the moon says no and the sea says yes, we might have him on the bench. I don't know. He's on his own thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think that the experience with the current roster
Mm-hmm.
has proven itself a bit of a disaster. And I say that, with the full understanding that people get hurt. Okay. I understand that people get hurt. But as a GM in this business, you have to craft your squad with that in mind. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if people go down, who's the next man up? And I feel like the Warriors seem to kind of get that.
They
I think
do.
Bob Myers really gets that, because when you look at the second tier guys, if you will, they are ready to ball, and everybody's excited about Kaminga
Mm-hmm.
and Wiseman, and you know what I mean.
Because it was Draymond was the second tier guy on the team. Harrison Barnes was the second tier guy on the team. They really found some really great diamonds in
right.
the rough. They really
And,
did.
and I think a lot of that it can be attributed to the Greg Popovich way of doing things, which was, yes, you have your stars, but you always run deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You always run deep. You got your sixth, seventh, eighth man off the bench.
Yeah.
They could start somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Warriors mentality kind of brings that home. Um, Phoenix had that as well, but I feel like Kyrie. I think they were saying if Kyrie came, Russell Westbrook would have to go or something like
And perhaps AD too.
that. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know the inner workings. I don't know
If you throw your hands up like you in the front office and you're so frustrated right now.
I really don't know the inner workings, but I was led to believe that Kyrie left LeBron in Cleveland so that he could shine
Be a
on his
star.
own.
Uh-huh.
And the idea that he now wants to pair back up with
It's
him,
crazy.
I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's speculation. I genuinely don't have the bandwidth to care. But I feel like, for the sake of answering this question, I think the Lakers have had enough drama.
I, I feel like you're correct. That was the perfect response. But for whatever reasons, we are in a season of drama. We love it. And
We,
I
we,
don't know.
it is as the world turns.
It is. Jeannie's sending out sub tweets. I'm like, when did we get to the sub tweeting? When did the co-owner get to the sub tweeting? When did we get here? Magic quit because he got mad. I don't know. I look, and all I know is I'm still going to be diehard. So if you ever hear me tweet or say Lakers in 5 or 6, I'm being delusional because I know that we're crazy trash right now. And I don't like to talk about it. And I too agree.
I don't think y'all are trash.
No, I just feel like it's too much. Well, here's the thing. Playing in LA, this is what I will say. We never take about that. Playing in LA is not like anything else you've experienced, even if you're a Clipper. If you are a Laker and you are even the 10th Laker and nobody even knows your name and you making league minimum, your world is turned upside down by this world, right? It's like, I just got off the boat. I came to Hollywood. Everybody that I love and adore knows my name, talking to me while I'm on the court. It's absolutely impossible to be focused. I can tell you these players would be like, I saw you at the last game sitting with, and I'm like, that's why we lost. I was like, how the hell do y'all know they know everybody, because it's so like who's who. So it's distracting and we are drama, but we don't need Kyrie. I agree.
It is. I mean, I think he should figure out and do it his way. I think he's determined to do it his way. So go do it your way. I have no problem. Whatever he wants to do, he's going to just do it. What's going to be interesting is to see if my homeboy, because I'm from the area, but if I want to know where KD's going to go, if he's going to go, because I don't see how he's going to get out of there.
I'm going to go back to your favorite basketball. Bill would never do this. Jordan wouldn't put us through this. My favorite player, Kobe, wouldn't put us through this. These newfangled new media players are really breaking my heart.
Well, here's the other thing, Cari. Different business.
Oh, 100%.
It's a different business.
They're corporations playing now. They're not there. They're full on.
Yes.
Corporations out there playing yes, you are correct. So smart.
They're not. It's not so much about ring chasing as it is about finding a suitable fit for me and my brand and my, you know what I mean? And my this and my that. And when you go into a locker room,
I can't take it.
Every time you see a team win a championship, every time, especially in the NBA, what is the common theme every time? Team. Team.
Milwaukee had it. Golden State had it. The Lakers had a bit of it in the bubble. Yeah, sure.
That's team basketball.
Sure.
Lakers won in the bubble because they had the defensive players in Caruso and what's his name? Caldwell Pope.
And we decided, okay, I can't. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? You
had
all the role players.
Yes.
As well as a team. And then
you're making me want to fight. Okay. Reasonable doubt, hard turn.
Yeah.
I've seen clips, obviously trailers, sitting with you and Ramala, who is the creator, and also I guess she's the showrunner as well. And McKinley, he's also another actor. I didn't get to meet the lead, but a good friend of mine knows her and says she's just absolutely amazing. And you spent the whole time being effusive towards everyone about how great they were. But I want to know what your role is specifically in this upcoming series, Reasonable Doubt, that I think is going to be a huge hit. Like, it feels like a hit to me.
Well, I from your lips to God's ears, I hope you're right, because I need 35 million. You like Cari, the movie star Tom Cruise does not make 35 million. I mean, he does ultimately, but
not but you like the original OG superstar, movie star does not, Cari. Okay, got it.
But I feel like, look, Reasonable Doubt, I think it's important to know that my character Damon is someone from Jax's past. And he comes into her life, and you have these moments where you see them start to push the boundaries of what could have been. And I think a lot of us in this world have someone in our lives who we go back to, despite
Yes.
where we are now, we always go back and think, I still wonders how my life would have turned out if I had ended up with that person.
Mhm.
And I think that is, if you're talking about my specific character, not the show per se, but my specific character, I represent that person in her life. And that complicates things. That complicates things in a very strong way. Very, very
Well,
strong, intimate way.
so Reasonable Doubt is loosely based off the entertainment attorney Sean Hawley, right? Who is, people may remember her. She would be with like, what was the redhead girl that just Lindsay?
Lindsay Lohan.
Yes, and thank you, because I don't know all the names, but she represented people like that. She was but I'm assuming that a lot of it is drawn from the creator's life as well, Ramala, which is this beautiful Black woman who I think is amazing. And it sounds like trying to holler at Jackson. She's already married. She's got a whole new life. She got a whole new husband. And you coming in there trying to break up a happy home is what I'm able to deduce. Am I wrong?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, two things. One, you can never break up a happy home if it's happy. Let's put it out there, because I know where people are going to go with this. Because the same thing happened on Bel Air. Everybody tried to say I was trying to get with Aunt Viv and everything else, and little did they know
trying to break up a happy home.
I was not trying to. It's like a Mr. Steal Your Girl. I saw all the movies. I saw it all. And and then people realized, oh, he wasn't. Oh, okay, yeah, because you jumped to the conclusion. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But you also did that because you saw that the helm wasn't very happy. You thought maybe he could squeeze in there. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. So what happens in Reasonable Doubt is, so Emayatsi Corinaldi, who plays Jax, the lead, she and her husband, played by McKinley Freeman, they are not in the best of places. Okay. They're figuring it out. They're not in the best of places. And so, again, that creates a bit of an opening for, her to wonder about this Damon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It creates, well, what happened? Well, how am I? What would, did I, and that is all her doing. I just want to put it out there.
Mr. Steal Your Man is not in this, Cari. Do not attack him. Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Look, she makes a choice.
Mm-hmm. She makes a choice.
She makes a choice. I don't force or,
Ladies, in short, don't watch this thinking about what happened to old Pook Pook and Meek Meek and them. If you are listening,
oh my God,
just start watching Reasonable Doubt and I know you have him saved under do not answer. Do not call. Just do not call, do not answer, ladies. This is not what we're doing, because it's not Michael Ealy on the other end that's going to pick up, okay?
It's a problem. My character, he's a problem.